This has had every Miami Hurricanes fan talking over the past couple of days. The idea that Darien Mensah could spend more than 1 year at Miami.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. We made it. Shout out to the everydayers. I am Alex Donno, and this episode of Locked On Canes is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We'll talk about possible bulletin board material out there because I think Mario Cristobal will have plenty to motivate his team this upcoming season. Notre Dame quarterback C.J. Carr had something to say about the Hurricanes. We'll get into that. But how about Darian Mensah? Now, we mentioned this on yesterday's episode with Gio Milian. I didn't come up with this idea. This was a story written by a friend of mine, good friend, every Canes fan, I think, Matt Shodell of Canes Sport, who wrote about, the possibility, however remote as it may be, of Darien Mensah, who's got 2 years of eligibility left. Like, this is a different situation. When Cam Ward got here, you knew for sure last ride, had 1 year of eligibility. Carson Beck, just 1 year left. Darien Mensah technically has 2 more years. He can play college football. And Matt Shodell wrote an article. Now, it wasn't a report. Like, he wasn't saying, hey, guys, by the way, Mensah's going to play here for 2 years. It was more of a hypothesis. But it's had Miami fans talking. I see it all over social media. People have been texting me about it. And, I think the idea is 2027 NFL draft on paper could be so loaded with quarterbacks, Mensah included, but so loaded compared to what we just had a couple of weeks ago, that is there a possibility if Mensah's not a top 4, top 5 quarterback in the draft that he could stay at Miami another year? I know the postcast king has thoughts on this. Our man Gries is with us. Now, Gries, first of all, from where I sit, if Darien Mensah does play 2 years at Miami, it might mean the first year is not all that stellar. So I'm kind of rooting for him to get drafted highly next year and leave.
I get your point, Alex, and I think in the past that was more prevalent than it is now. I think we're seeing the tide turn a little bit because so many guys left college early over the years to go to the NFL for family reasons, money reasons. They were dirt poor, had no money. They want the money. And even if you weren't a poor college kid, and I wasn't considered a poor college kid, I was still poor compared to NFL money, right? As everybody was. I mean, even in the days when Coach O and people are joking around, say, we had the money in the envelope. And I have stories from back in the day that I'll never tell because I've been sworn to secrecy for 30 years and I'll die with these secrets. But they do involve former players at the University of Miami receiving money they should not have received. And this is a long, long time ago, but that's the way it used to be. But you used to have to sneak around and dance around. But now you're at the University of Miami. Now the NIL is stacked and the NIL is a big difference maker. So maybe number one, and maybe I'm a little too much of an old soul and a purist on a walking Hallmark card on this one, but the love of the game. You're having more fun in college playing than you'll ever have in the NFL, right? And college is a business just like NFL is, but you'll have so much more fun in college. You got your guy Barkate there. You get to throw the ball to Malachi Tony for 2 years if you stay, and you're going to make a ton of money. So the fact that he could make a ton of money, have the time of his life, live in Miami with those, you're gonna give that up to go to Cleveland. You're gonna give that up to go to Shador and Deshaun Watson next year. You're gonna get, you know what I mean? You're gonna give that up.
That's a great point.
The armpit of the NFL. I mean, I think the NIL living in the city of Miami, I think there's a good shot that no matter how well he plays, he might want to stay 2 years.
Yeah. You know what? You're on to something there because if I just look at this year's draft as an example, you've got a couple of guys coming back for college in 2026 that could have left and been highly drafted, like Dante Moore. People thought he was going to leave. And so Dante Moore is now, maybe his thinking is they didn't have me as QB1 in the draft next year. He has a chance to be that. But Dante Moore would have been highly drafted, a possible first-round pick had he come out. He chose to come back to Oregon.
Above Ty Simpson, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, probably above Ty Simpson.
And he went where, 13?
Yeah, I think so. I think he probably would have been QB2 over Ty Simpson. Another one, Trinidad Chambliss. Like this dude sued the NCAA to come back for another year when he would have been a high draft pick had he left. Like he's having such a great time at Ole Miss, apparently, to your point, that he wanted to come back for another year of college. So
leave college if you don't have to. What if they
yeah.
paid me to stay at the University of Miami? I never would have left.
Yeah, right. Like the only reason why I wanted to get my butt out of there was because I needed to start making money. So if not, if you said like if I could have been paid seven figures, as we imagine Darien Mensah likely is, seven figures to stay at Miami, you would have had to drag me out of there.
If they lose or they have a disappointing loss, or like if Beck had a chance to come back for another year after that pick on a game-winning drive in the Natty in your home stadium after everything you've been through, if you had a chance to come back and run that back. I mean, with that bitter taste and you're so close to winning. I don't want us to go through that again. Don't get me wrong. But how nice would it be to win back-to-back championships at the University of Miami? And by the way, become the first quarterback at quarterback U, which Cam Ward put back into effect. And now Carson Beck had a really good year, be quarterback U again, right? All those great QBs, all those great teams, not one of them, correct me if I'm wrong, not one of them won back-to-back national titles at the University of Miami.
Nope.
None. Vinny didn't win one. Bernie won one, right? Craig Erickson won one. Steve Walsh won one. Ken
Dorsey should have had two or three, but he only got the one.
Three, because we should have been in the game over Ohio State against Oklahoma, and we did beat Ohio State. Not we should have. We did beat Ohio State until they threw a phantom flag 20 minutes later. I was on the field for that, but Dorsey probably should have had three. Speaking to how hard it can be, but what if Mensah wins one and wants to come back and win another? He's the guy at quarterback U for the rest of his life. Maybe he wins a Heisman too. You know, I don't know. You can't.
Wouldn't argue it.
But with that kind of money, Alex, I don't know. I just don't think the NFL has the same appeal as it used to, because the biggest appeal about the NFL was money. And now that you can get your money in college and still have that fun, I don't know, the girls, the sunshine, the beach. I don't know the kid, but man, there's so many selling points for him staying 2 years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like, listen, I would be open to this in all directions. And based on watching Darien Mensah in spring ball, he looks like the real deal to me. And, you know, people probably should have known that already, given what he did at Duke and Tulane the last couple of years. But it looks like he already has full understanding and command of Shannon Dawson's offense. And this is the most weapons he's ever had in his career. So I think he's going to have a phenomenal year at Miami. But like you're saying, if there's any chance he wants to run it back and do it for two straight, I wouldn't argue it. You know, I know that for our listeners, you know, we have a lot of quarterback debates, Gries, with our listeners because, you know, Miami fans can be very curious and very protective of like the young quarterbacks, like the next guys, the up and coming guys. And so you would say that if Darien Mensah were to come back for a second year, that would affect, you know, the rest of the quarterback room. I don't know if Luke Nickel and Darian Coleman would hang around. You know, I would imagine Israel Abrams, who would just be a freshman in 2027, would probably stick around, and he looks like a great one for the future. So, yeah, I mean, if Mensah were to come back for a second year, it could potentially at least partially blow up the younger part of your quarterback room. But again, Gries, if Mensah has a phenomenal year and he wants to run it back, I mean, who says no? Like, honestly, even if it means you may lose a quarterback or two to the portal, if he has a great year and wants to do it for a second straight year, I think most Miami fans would be on board.
No way. But one thing I want to add to this too, though, is the possibility of injury, right? I mean, you come back for that second year, you get hurt, and then you never get a chance to play in the NFL. That's pretty powerful too.
That's true. That's another thing to think about. And again, so just so people know, this is not a report. This is a hypothesis, a what if Darien Mensah wants to do this for 2 years at Miami. Because, listen, I have every reason to believe, and I said it when he got here, I think this is going to be a one-and-done thing, but we'll see how that one plays out. We have a lot of time to think about that. We have a lot more to talk about on this episode of Locked On Canes. So when we get closer to November 7th, which is the date that Miami goes into South Bend, everyone in South Bend, except maybe one person, is going to be looking at that as a revenge game for the Crying Irish. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Folks, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every possession matters, and if you're looking to get even closer to the action, FanDuel has a great offer to get you started. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right, turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets just for getting started. I like using FanDuel during the playoffs because everything I need is right there in one place on the app. You can check the stats, the trends, the matchups, all before you make your picks, which makes the whole experience feel a lot more informed. Whether you're looking at player props or you just want your favorite stars, it adds another level of excitement to every game. It's really easy to use the app and to navigate it, and it makes playoff basketball even more engaging from start to finish. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. If you haven't joined the Everydayer Club yet, you want to check it out. We do exclusive episodes, exclusive show newsletters, one-on-one texting with me, other great features. Join the Everydayer Club. Hit that all-access tier. Go to lockedoncanes.supercast.com or click the link in the show notes below to become a member of the Everydayer Club. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're joined here by the Postcast King, our guy Gries. And Gries, I know the biggest postcast you're going to do all season is going to be late night on the night of November 7th after Miami takes on Notre Dame in South Bend. So I will tell you, I respect the way Notre Dame starting quarterback C.J. Carr answered a question, and I feel like asking him this question in April or May 1st, whatever it was, is kind of a trap, but he handled it well. So he was on the Triple Option podcast, and he was asked if he's out for revenge against Miami when they play in early November this coming year. And again, like, if you come out and say, yes, absolutely, I want to beat those guys so badly, you could spin it as, hey, this quarterback is looking ahead to like week 9 of the regular season already. Why is he thinking about Miami nonstop? So I thought the way that C.J. Carr answered it, he said, it's the year of Notre Dame. We're worried about ourselves. We're not worried about anyone else. We've got a lot of time before game 1, so we're not worried about the teams we played last year or the results of last year. So, Gries, I thought he answered the question perfectly, but I don't believe a word he said because I absolutely think Notre Dame is thinking about Miami. They have that date circle on the calendar. We kept them out of the playoffs last year. Whether C.J. Carr admits it or not, that entire team is thinking about revenge.
Yeah, do you remember, we just talked about it with Ken Dorsey and those great Miami teams. Remember the year FSU, we beat them, though, that year, and then they went to the Natty ahead of us? Remember how that next team felt about Florida State? And do you remember what that next team did on the road to Florida State?
They destroyed him.
That was the Ed Reed halftime speech game when he said, I'm hurt, dog. That's the famous Ed Reed speech. That was, I think it was 49-27. I have sick memory when it comes to useless numbers from 5
really
years
good.
ago.
I don't remember the score, so I'll assume you're right on that one.
We beat Florida State, but no, seriously, I mean, he's full of crap and he's a liar. And this is where players and coaches lie to us all the time, right? Yeah. As a coach, you don't want your quarterback coming out, I hate Miami. I can't wait to play him. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I would answer the question honestly myself because everyone knows you're lying. That's the game that everyone has circled on their calendars. Every Miami fan has that game circled on their calendar. So it's not anything I would expect him to do differently, but he's full of crap. And he's going to have that crap kicked out of him, by the way, that night. All of it, every piece of it is coming out. I'm so excited for that game. It is going to be a great night, but Notre Dame is going to be really good this year. They lost their top 2 running backs. Obviously, they lost a bunch of other people, but C.J. Carr is much better coming back, and they really played well. They lost very early to us in Texas A&M. Very close games to both. Could have won either one of them, and they were kept out of the playoffs because of those 2 games that happened before the middle of September, if I'm not mistaken, right? So they've had a long time to chew on those, and they've won a lot of games in between. Built a lot of momentum, and they have the chip on their shoulder from not being included in the playoffs. And Notre Dame has that entitlement to begin with. Like, we're Notre Dame, and you're not. Well, man, to you, because you didn't make the playoffs. Tell me I'm wrong, Alex. If you're a Notre Dame fan, would you ever have thought in your entitled life that you think God's on your side and doesn't care about anybody else? Would you have ever thought if it came down to you and anybody else and things were pretty even that you wouldn't get in no matter what? No,
they thought they were getting in. Yeah,
no
for sure.
way, right? They were knocked down to earth in a vicious way. So CJ might not be thinking about that game, but there's a lot of crying Irish. I love your phrase, by the way. Who are?
I'll tell you a quick story, and I'm not going to mention a name because I don't want Yeah, I don't want to get anybody in trouble for something that they said off the record, but so I remember, before I won't even narrow it down. It was either of the past 2 years. It may have been 2024, 2025. I remember talking with a Miami player leading up to one of the matchups against Florida. I remember Miami beat them the last 2 years, and as I was talking to that player when the camera was on. No matter what I asked, the answer was, yeah, it's a nameless, faceless opponent. We're not thinking about the rivalry. We're not thinking about the gate. Like
Coaches
all
watching.
of that, all the stuff that you want them to say. And then after, we were off the record, like he looks at me like, camera's off, right? I'm like, yeah, F the Gators was what he said right after that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's these rivalries, they matter, and believe me, Notre Dame's going to be thinking plenty about Miami, and also on that topic, Gries, I know you've as a Miami guy because you love this university, you're an alumnus like I am. You've been talking a lot the last couple weeks about a lot of this anti-Miami bias, the way that they knock down our draft picks and everything. It's nothing new from Miami. We have this us against the world mentality for a reason. Can Mario Cristobal harness some of this stuff? Because you always want to have a chip on your shoulder. I mean, a year where you almost won a national championship, I think that in itself creates a chip. But you think Cristobal can harness and use some of this negativity nationally to really get this team focused this year?
What did he just come out and say, Alex? What was his quote? This place runs on what? Man, I'm trying to find it right now.
Oh yeah, it's something about what was that? Yeah, I remember the staff. I know somebody listening is going to put it in the comments in like a second. Hate something. Like the clean fuel,
clean energy source of positive anger. That's what it is.
Yeah,
a never-ending clean energy source of positive anger.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to say it from Mario.
Yeah.
It's like this version, this day and age of the Miami Hurricanes. So I think there's always that inside the building, and I think there's always going to be that with Mario here. But I also believe, and thank you, by the way, for acknowledging that I love the university. Half the people in the chat don't realize that, man, when I'm critical. It's not my job to just sugarcoat everything and everybody's amazing all the time, because nobody's amazing all the time. And when they screw up, it's our job to say it. And it's nice that everybody loves the team and loves, everybody as much. But I still don't love Shannon Dawson, and I'm never going to. So deal with it. All right, so next. Anyway,
and you know what? And we respectfully disagree on that. And I think, especially with the talent he's got now, I think Dawson's going to be looking like a virtuoso again this year.
I hope so. I hope to eat whatever I have to eat on that one, and I will. You know me. If there's anything you know about me, I will admit it. I'll own it.
For sure.
I'll eat it, whatever I need. Yeah. But I hope that this year proves me wrong on both Mario and Dawson in a lot of ways. I still don't think Mario's a great in-game coach. I think the last year's run was incredible. I don't want to ever take anything away from him. The culture that he's rebuilt here, the recruiting job that he's done, the coaches that he's brought in. I mean, I look, I'd be an idiot to sit here and rip on Mario for any of those things. But if he makes mistakes in games and things like that, and Dawson does that, I'm still going to point him out. Doesn't mean that I don't love the university, but the university, same thing happens with the country that we live in right now. I always say the flag is above any president. People have that twisted. The U is above every coach, Alex. No matter who, I don't care if it's Howard or Jimmy, I don't care who it is. The U stands above all of them, always. And I look for the U, not the coach. I'm here about the U, not the coach, not the players. It's about the U first and foremost. I love the coach and the players, but it's about the U. So that said, the U is disrespected everywhere. Every time, we have a high draft pick coming out, they slide because all of a sudden they're bringing up old car accidents and his arms are all of a sudden too short. They weren't too short to run by everybody on Ohio State, where they weren't, you know what I mean? So many, even on the play that Indiana, a couple of plays, was it the Indiana game? I'm trying to remember, but Ruben Bain was right there in the quarterback's face on a play that decided a game. And I can't remember which game it was, but he was right there. And then CeCe Maui-Noah on the play that Beck beat Ole Miss. That play is, if you go back and watch it 1,000 times, as I have, CeCe Maui-Noah blocked his guy. Someone got free off the edge. He ran back and took him out. He had the presence of mind to sprint back 5 yards and take another dude out, which allowed Carson Beck to run in the first place. So anything about, he's got a bad back. everybody coming out of Miami has something wrong with them, right? On a national level. But the thing is, there's so much hate still for this program, okay? And I understand 40 years ago when you would go into places like Notre Dame and Michigan and just smash them all over their own field as an independent, as a Johnny-come-lately, beating Nebraska for a national title, smashing Oklahoma and Nebraska in that stupid option offense every time they ran, right? And Notre Dame's record in Miami against Miami, go look it up, since the 80s, right? So there's a lot of hate there. And there's a lot of the blue bloods, so to speak, who hate us. But the thing I love about college football right now, especially, there's no such thing as a blue blood anymore. There's a lot of great programs, and the conferences don't even matter. You have California teams in the Big Ten. It's all stupid on that level. But what hasn't changed in the constant level of change in college football is the hatred for the University of Miami. We just didn't see it as much for the last few years because we weren't any good. And when you're not any good, people can kick you while you're down, but they can't hate you as much as they can when you're beating them. By nature, they can't. When you start beating them again, they start hating you again. And I'll take that every time. I'll wear it as a badge. You want to hate us? Hate us. That means we beat you and we're better than you. People hate you from behind. No one hates you from above you. No one. No one's looking down going, hey, I hate that guy beneath me. No, you're looking up and hating someone who's above you. That's all it is.
That's 1,000% spot on. Man, I always appreciate catching up with you, Gries. Let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and also where they can check out your work. You do an awesome job on the Miami Dolphins squad shows as well. I know you've been taking the Dolphins to task for passing on Reuben Bain for, overweight Caden Proctor. So let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, and Jeff Scanina, my partner on the Dolphins squad show, he has no allegiance to the city of Miami, just to the Dolphins, right? So, or to the U. He's a Purdue guy. Oh, his arms are, and he was in fairness to Z, he's an NFL defensive line coach for a lot of years and a player. He says the shorter arms make a big difference. Okay. I say you got to watch more Reuben Bain tape because the tape doesn't lie, right? Yeah. So anyway, and then Mesidor was too old and this and that. But Scanina is great, man. He played with Jason Taylor and Madison.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Thomas and all them when the Dolphins had a really great defense, the Ricky Williams, the Wanstash years, And then Kyle Krabs, who is the Alex Donno of the NFL. I'm spoiled beyond belief on the number 7 and 10 channels on the network of over 220. To work with you and to work with him, are you kidding me? You guys are the two best insiders that we have on the network, and I mean that. And I'm blessed to work with both of you. So we're working on getting this Kane squad show and making that year-round, just like the Dolphin squad show is. I also do the San Diego Padres because, like South Florida should have done decades ago, they decided to not have anything to do with the Marlins. And the fact that they tore down the Orange Bowl for that lousy, stinking, rotten baseball franchise that no one's ever cared about. Bitter. They don't even put them on Locked On. That's how bad they are. So I had to do the Padres there. So you can check me on the Padres games. And then MMA Weekly on the UFC and boxing side, live during big fight nights.
Awesome.
Like next week in New Jersey, Strickland against Chimaev. I'll be live for that one. So a little bit of everything. But you know this, Alex, nothing compares to you. You know what I'm saying? So this is my heart. The fact that I get to do this and the fact that I get to talk to the greatest fans in college football and hopefully soon all year round anyway, doing this once a week with you. Yeah. So anything. And then my social media is at Jim Gries _ GRIES at Jim Gries _ and some pretty cool stuff, I think, every once in a while on there too. But I know that that we'll be doing this every week and we'll be getting the squad show going. The season keeps getting closer. And I cannot wait to see Darien Mensah. Who cares about 2 years? I cannot wait to see him this year with Barkate and Tony and Josh Moore and this group of receivers and Mark Fletcher Jr. coming back, and just the way the defense evolves under Heatherman without Bain and Mesidor, but just the interior guys being the strength this year. So many things to look forward to. And I know you got a whole late spring, summer's worth of content coming too.
Yeah, we got a lot more to talk about with the roster, a lot of recruiting talk these days. Fans are stressing out sometimes. We'll see. There could be some good news on the horizon. A huge thank you to Gries. Huge thank you to the Everydayers. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day.